What's up, y'all? It's Otaku Tavern back at you with another video. Hope everybody's doing well today, tonight, wherever you're from. And I had a crazy day. I talked a little bit about it in a video. I've uploaded it, I've just not made it public yet. That'll be out sometime soon in the coming days. So yeah. Well, actually, it might be out tomorrow, actually. So, anyway, if you like the type of content that I create, make sure you like, subscribe, click the bell notification so that you do not miss a video. And we are going to get into this. Let me share this in my Discord.
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not judging.
Agent F1. I'm going in.
There. Okay, so what I want to talk about tonight is this is fairly new. It actually became a thing last year. And, you know, I've been learning about it, and, you know, I've actually witnessed this. You know, I've seen this happen. I've actually had this happen to me, right? You know, I just didn't know really what the term would be for it, and then I found out here recently. It's been a little bit ago, but, like, I found out, and this one here is another brutal one to have to deal with. And what I want to talk about is floodlighting. Floodlighting is basically, you know, it's a modern dating behavior, basically, that involves the oversharing of deeply personal, intimate, or traumatic information too soon in a relationship. And you know, I've personally been in this. I've been in this situation, and I've had this happen to me, actually. So it's like it's crazy to find out what the actual term for this is. And when I found out the term, I was like, man, I gotta plan a video on this, because this one's a brutal one. And it's like, gotta talk about this. So, you know, it's basically coined by the person, you know, Breen Brown. And, you know, this phenomenon is, you know, characterized by intense, one-sided, and premature, like, disclosures that often create a false sense of intimacy or tests a new partner's boundaries, right? So, this is a very... Okay, whatever. This is a very tough one to deal with, and I don't wish this on anybody, obviously. This one is, honestly, I would say this is worse than trauma dumping. I would say this is much worse, actually. Now, basically what this does is you get, like, you know, you're doing... The person that's doing this is creating basically a premature vulnerability. You know, they share intense emotional details. This could be trauma, stuff about past relationships, you know, insecurities.
That's my sister.
You know, before the relationship even begins, right? And you know, this often happens, it always happens, you know, before trust is established, right? Like, they're basically telling these people that they don't even know if they can trust them. They give them this information, and this is very dangerous, you know, because obviously I talk about, like, the normies wanting to gossip all the time, You could end up being the talk of the town, whatever, right? Like, you know, it's brutal, but anyway, you know, it's very very draining, to say the least, because you know, you're trying to get to know someone, and it's like you can't get to know them because of this issue. You're starting to learn like things that you aren't supposed to be learning yet. Like this is kind of a learn as you go situation in relationships, and it's not like this. It's like, you know, these details are shared way too early, and you know, it ends up not working out, obviously, because obviously this isn't the first thing you tell, and you know, these people just break up for every little thing nowadays. And you know, this is a huge trend on dating apps, right? This is a huge trend on dating apps. And you know, it's basically purposeful sharing, you know, unlike accidental sharing. You know, it's not accidental sharing. You know, floodlighting is often, you know, used to articulate like a connection, right? Like test acceptance, you know, or manage anxiety about rejection, right? And, you know, this is brutal. This is really brutal to have to deal with. And it's like, you know, you also have like, you know, the vulnerability hangover. It's like this person sharing may experience a feeling of regret or emotional exhaustion after oversharing, you know, often described like, you know, as vulnerability hangover. And it's like, you know, this stuff here really is... It's brutal. Like, you know, I wouldn't wish this on really anything. But like, you know, another thing too is like unbalanced dynamics. You know, this interaction is actually just one-sided, you know, putting pressure on the recipient to basically act as an unpaid therapist. Like, you know, and this is the problem with it, because you got to work your way up to this, and it's like, you know, only one person is sharing, you know, all this stuff. It's like both people are not sharing. And you know, like I said before, you know, before the relationship begins, to just test trust, it's like, you know, that this makes no sense, right? Like, and it boils down to, I believe it has something to do with trauma bonding. Right? You know, we've talked about that on the channel many a time. And, you know, I do believe it has something to do with trauma bonding because of how they go about this. But like, it's like the overwhelming content you're hearing is you're being told about the intimate details of a person's past, traumas, exes, or mental health without the first few, you know, within the first few meetings. Like, you know, you're getting to know someone, you're in the getting to know someone stage, like the first date, the second date, maybe the third date as well. And it's like, you know, hey, if those dates go good, it's like, cool, I get it. You know, I could understand you know, sharing, you know, some of this information. But it's like, you know, they're doing it before any of this happens. And I've been through this personally. I've had girls tell me like stuff like, you know, whatever they was, I'm not necessarily going to say what it is, but you know, like just start like trauma dumping. And you know, it's basically kind of like an urgency to connect in a way. And you know, this is not going to form like real connections, obviously. It's going to form trauma bonds, and trauma bonds are not real connections. You know, I don't know why people think they are, but they're not. Like, they are not. They never have been. They never will be. But anyway, hang on, I'm trying to get this. Okay, she's healing, so You know, and sorry if I don't talk too fast in this video, or a little fast. I am kind of playing this and concentrating. It is a comfy stream too, so. Come on. But you know, it's like they also will want to test your reactions too. Like, you know, and some people even make up like false traumas, false insecurities or whatever just to test you, and it's like that's very toxic too, right? But you know, the share basically is they're closely analyzing you, like how you react to this, right? And you know, the thing with this is like, oh, okay, Rosa, sorry, I didn't see your comment. Hope your time with your dad went well. But it's like, you know, they want to determine if you can handle them, right? And it's like, you know, this is really stupid. Like, I don't understand this.
White fox on the hunt. Try to keep up.
This type of like behavior, because like it makes no sense to want to do this, right? Like, I mean, it just really doesn't. But you know, another thing too is like very high intensity. You know, this conversation will feel more like a therapy session than like a first date, right? Now, I can't tell you how many dates I've been on that feel like that, bro.
We're not interested in hiring you. We're considering locking you up for good.
And the reasons they do this is to test acceptance, check if they will stay despite having baggage. You know, they can't necessarily stay if they don't know you or had a first, second date with you, even a third date, right? Like, they can't necessarily do that, right? So, I mean, it's just kind of weird, but, like, another thing is, like, the fast-track intimacy thing, right? Like, come on. Oh, crap. Dang it. Come on, Hulk. But you know, it's like the fast-track intimacy, they will try to force an immediate sense of closeness to you. And they want to control the narrative as well. They want to control the narrative, you know, sharing flaws immediately to avoid pain of them being discovered later. So, it's like, you know, it sucks that y'all, like, they went through this, right? But it's like, you don't necessarily share this on the first date, the second date, or the third date. Now, on the fourth date, if you want to share this, hey, I think that's fair game, honestly, you know, because you got to know what you're getting into, right? But you don't be telling this, like, before there's even 1% of trust established, you know? And it's like, if you're being floodlit, you know, you gotta set boundaries and be like, hey, you know, it's important to communicate, you know, that you need to go slower, right? And this is more of a woman problem, like a woman problem to a man. Basically, women are doing this to a man. You know, this is mostly, I mean, there are men who do this, yes, but like, you know, it's mostly a woman thing. You know, you can look that up. It's mostly a woman thing. And it's like, you know, they want gradual disclosure. You know, if you are the one doing it, focus on letting the relationship, you know, build over time rather than just all at once, right? Like, you know, just, because you can't learn everything about somebody just in one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that takes time. Man, my foot's itching. That takes time, and
It's a small victory, but we'll take
you gotta... I don't know, you gotta, like, get to know someone first. Like, you know, at least 3 dates, bro. At least. And... But, yeah, that's what they do. And it's like, they want to, like, reflect on intent. You know, you need to reflect on their intentions, too. Like, ask yourself if you are, you know, sharing to build a connection or to test the other person's loyalty. You know, now, I mean, that's the thing. If you're sharing to build connection, that's one thing. But a lot of these people will try to do that to see, like, test their, like, loyalty, to test their, like, how they will react. Like, and it's like when you first meet someone, this is very toxic behavior because it just doesn't make any sense to do this. And, you know, this obviously they'll try to do this, like, to act as a shield, right? You know, because dumping everything up front, you know, the sharer controls the narrative. And that's what they want to do. They want to be able to control the narrative to keep the conversation on their terms, on their side, right? So they control the narrative of how the conversation goes. And, you know, if you leave, they can tell themselves, like, see, no one can handle the real me. And it's like, you know, you just don't act this way on first, second, or third dates. You just, you don't do that. You know, fourth, fine. But, like, you know, it's also kind of like a disclaimer strategy, too, bro. Like, you know, and this also will reinforce, like, the fear of rejection within them without actually having to be vulnerable in, like, a balanced way, right? Like, you know, some people will feel that they owe a potential partner a list of their flaws or traumas immediately to avoid wasting time or being rejected later on once they're more invested. This is very bad. This is toxic. Like, because honestly, it shouldn't matter if you have baggage. You know, you're supposed to be a team, obviously. And, you know, that right there just goes to show me that, you know, the dating pool is getting much worse. It's getting much worse. And it's like, you know, another thing, too, is it forces... what's the word I'm looking for? Shoot.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
What's the word I'm looking for?
I'm going in.
Reciprocity. You know, it creates like a reciprocity norm where you feel like, you know, kind of like it's the social obligation to share something equally intense, even if you aren't ready, like effectively taking you like emotional hostage. This is like an emotional hostage situation. And it's like, these people at Floodlight, they're obviously anxious. They're having like an anxious attachment style. Those, you know, basically with an anxious attachment style often feel an urgent need for reassurance. You know, floodlighting is a very quick way for these to check if the partner is safe and emotionally available. Now, here's the thing: you should know if you're emotionally available. Oh, hey, how's it going? You should know if you're emotionally. You should know if they're emotionally unavailable by their body language. Learn to read body language. Why do the toxicity crap when you can just do this? And you're like, oh well, yeah, that shows me they're emotionally available, and then just stop it. Because, but no, they have to go even further. They have to take it as far as they can with this, because, and it also screws them out of the dating pool too. They're going to be like, oh, well, this person just can't handle me, so, well, I don't want to see you no more. And it's like, you know, this person got rejected. They rejected themselves, basically. Like, the other person didn't even reject them. It's like, they're pretty much creating their own pain. In other words, like, it's, you know, like I said, you need to have like a 3-date rule. At least go on 3 dates before you do this. You know, and the 4th date, you know, sure, you can establish a tad bit of trust by then. You know, maybe like 1 to 2, 3% maybe, you know, somewhere around that range, but like at least it's not 0, right? So, and it's like, you know, I don't understand why people do this. I don't understand why women want to do this. Like, because, I mean, yeah, like I mentioned before, there are men who do this, but this is more of a woman thing. And it's like, you know, when you as a man has to go through this, it really makes you wonder what in the hell is going on inside this woman's head, because I mean, I don't think they mean like any like, I don't think a lot of them mean like any harm by it, but I mean some probably do, but like I think that like
Fox on the run.
it really destroys their chances of finding a good partner. But I don't like when someone has a marry and a weak mentality. That's another topic for another video. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I married my wife within about 2 months of knowing her, because I'll tell you why. Because the only reason I was able to do that is because I just knew she was the one, right? Like, you know, when you know, right? Like, I mean, and it's like, that's kind of why I did that. So, you know, that's kind of a different story, though. But I had known my wife for quite a bit, so anyway, you know, another thing too is like you really gotta prepare for this too, because it's a big problem, you know. And the thing is, you gotta ask yourself why they're sharing this. Are they asking like are they sharing this to connect, or are they just testing my reaction to see what I'm going to say or how I'm going to react? And it's like, if it's the second one, that is toxic. So, you know, don't put up with this, right? You gotta call this out for what it is, because this is another brutal one to have to deal with, right? Like, but dang it. But yeah, it's like, you know, it creates a big emotional hostage situation. You know, basically floodlighting, you know, it feels like they're obligated to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, kind of match the intensity of what was shared. So, and you know, you may do this, and then you may get with someone who will be like, oh, this person overshared, you know, I need to lie and make something up, you know, to try to match their... And it's like, see, then your whole connection is built on lies, see? You built it all on a lie. And it's like, no, I mean, sure, this person who's oversharing, yeah, it probably did happen. But it's like, you know, if the other person starts lying to try to match your energy, you kind of caused this because you shared too quickly. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I mean, after the third date, I think it's okay to share, but it's like, this is a total trap. It is a total trap, and it's like, it can become a burden pretty quick. Like, not necessarily the person becoming a burden, but it's like, you know, you have to think about, like, you're getting to know someone, and you're already being introduced to everything bad that's happened to them, right? It's like, you know, you're obviously not ready for this yet. You're just trying to kind of get to know them first, because that takes time, right? That takes time to get to know somebody. And it's just, you know, it's false closeness. It's basically manipulation masked as vulnerability, right? Like, that's what it really is. And, you know, that's toxic, so... But, like, yeah, definitely watch out for that. You know, it definitely serves as, like, a boundary test, too. And, you know, another thing, too, is you risk, when you do this, you risk emotional exploitation. Like, it leaves the sharer, obviously, unprotected and raw. Like, you know, you have to think, like, about yourself as well, not just the other person, because... now you've told your secrets, and you could have told them to someone who might spread them around. You know, they may spread them around the church building. They may spread them around the town. They may gossip about you. You know, I mean, but then again, I guess women are more into gossip than men. I've seen quite a few men do this, but more women so. But, like, anyway, that's neither here or there right now. But, like, man, we lost this bad. I'm just gonna stand here. We lost that bad. You know, and it was like, basically by showing all their cards to a stranger, they risk being exploited by the people who do not have their best interest at heart, right? So you may be sharing this with somebody, and they may have very bad, cruel intentions, and now they can use this against you, right? So it's like, you know, it definitely, you gotta, this is a red flag, because you really gotta be watching out for this. You really do, because, I mean, even if you do have the best intentions to heart, you what you would need to tell them is like, hey, look, you know, you're kind of oversharing here. It's not that I don't care. You know, be like, look, you know, we'll get to that. Right now, I'm just, you know, on the first 3 dates, we need to kind of just get to know each other. And stuff like this, you know? Then you can talk about insecurities, traumas, and everything else, right? So, you know, you can talk about this stuff later. You know, it doesn't have to be really, like, soon, as in, like, you know, the,
Agent F1.
it's just, it's a little too soon, you know? So... But it's like, you know, I didn't even know the term to this. You know, I always wondered, like, what is this called? Sorry for the person spamming the meme. Anyway, or the emote. The thing is, like, you know, I've actually witnessed this. I've dealt with this. I've experienced this. And it's like, you know, I always wondered what in the hell this is actually called, because...
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
You know, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look it up, because I plan on talking about this on the video, but like, I don't know what to title the video, because I don't know what you would call it. And I started looking it up, and it's like, you know, I knew all about it, it's just I didn't know like a name to call this, and it come back and told me that that's called floodlighting. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. You know, that's very interesting to say the least. But definitely watch out for this. You know.
I've survived so much worse.
Okay, let's see. Maybe we can win this one.
Systems restored.
They'll have to hit harder. Charm cannot defeat instant damage.
Thank you, Joe.
Vampires fear you for a reason, Blake.
You might want to stay there. You had that coming.
The fox claims its due. Let's finish.
Double tail. That's 3.
Mayday.
8 legs versus...
They're back in the hunt.
You're mine. Back in the game.
Team strike. Efficient. It reeks of defeat.
Here come our next
Clean
victims.
elimination. Don't step on lava. Good timing. Perfect synergy.
Fury burn.
Vampires fear you for a reason, Blade.
You might want to stay there. Looks like Namor ordered our next course.
This is officially
Wasn't very nice, was it? Damn it, never fall! Even better than my
Come on. Dang it.
Hunt resumes.
Okay.
Better stop that vehicle.
Oh, your dad got Screamer? How's he liking it? Has he played it yet, or?
Supernova! You never stood a chance. As good as new.
We've made it halfway. Stop them.
Still not an age. Born again! I require some aid. Like 1,000 gods! Rise, my
Torch.
Fox on the run.
He loves it.
You
That's
stop them in
awesome.
their tracks.
By the eye of... Beholds the
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah,
60 seconds left.
if I put like, just fair warning, if I put like cozy stream, I may go quiet for a little bit. Like I may not talk as fast as I do in like a video that's just titled like whatever the topic is. If I put like cozy stream after it, that means like y'all have a chance to talk as well. Like I'm just kind of having a cozy stream too. So while I was talking about a topic too, I'll talk a little bit more here in a minute about it.
Down to 30 seconds.
I must be off my game.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of started the cozy streams, the other day.
Final 10 seconds.
Yeah, the other day. So, yeah, we won that.
You'll have to
But,
keep playing until we have a winner.
yeah, you know,
Big victory.
another thing too that I want to add is like, you know, the person that's doing the oversharing is, they have very poor boundaries. And what I mean by this is like, you know, you're telling someone that you could have the worst intentions to you, all your dark secrets, right? Like, I mean, like bad things that's happened to you, you know, if you can't protect your own story, more than likely they're not going to respect you saying that. Like, so if you're saying that way too early before the fourth date begins, then yeah, that's going to be pretty bad. Like, you know, you're not going to be able to. It's just doomed to fail, honestly. You know, and also the see no one can handle me thing can also go back into like, you know,
I'm going in.
oh, well, you know, I'm just, like, how do I put this? It paints the picture of, how do I say this? I'm trying to think how to say this. Like, it creates a mirage. I'll say it like it creates a mirage, you know, of like a deep bond that, you know, doesn't actually exist because there's no foundation of shared experience to even support
To
it.
attack. Get ready.
It's like when you don't have the shared experience to support it,
I prefer to call it a 2-in-1, but
it's meaningless.
Whatever it is, it's pretty fantastic.
I was gonna say amazing.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Yes, I'm a fox spirit. No, you cannot touch my tails. Less damage for a bit.
Dang it.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now. Capture the mission area!
Come on.
Shot to the soul! Look behind you!
Come on. It took me. Crap, hang on. Dang it!
I
Took me
require
a
some
month
aid.
to open up to you. Yeah, I mean, even in friends, bro. Yeah, even in friends. Yeah, that's another thing, too. Like, you know, even in friendships, like, you know, a lot of people will even overdo that. Like, you know, like, I mean, I get it, you know. But it's like, you know, when I'm getting to know someone, I don't do that. You know, obviously, I know you don't either. It's like, you know, like how you mentioned, it took you like a month to. And it's like, you know, that's for a friend, that's honestly pretty good. You know, that's you're getting to know someone. I mean, obviously dating, I get, you know, that'd be shorter to do it, but like, it's just like, you know, friends will even do this. It's like, you know, okay, I need to heal. Okay.
You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Freaking Black Panther. Oh, that was invisible one I got, man. I lost Black Panther.
Fox on the run.
Control lost.
Guide my spear. It's Deadpool's turn to shine.
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Tremble before Bast!
Leave them to
Come on.
A little help, please.
But yeah, you know, they will use these, like these heavy stories to like hook you and create dependency before you can even set boundaries, right?
With victory!
They've almost got it.
You know, and experts are even saying that this can be like a what they would call, in their words, like a one-eyed cousin to love bombing. You know, it's very similar to love bombing. Like, I would just say probably not as bad. Like, love bombing is some of the worst toxic dating behavior that you could possibly ever experience. Y'all, like, it's... that right there is on a whole nother level. But...
Close.
it's brutal in the dating world, so...
Speed, stamina, and some very sharp claws.
You really gotta watch things, so...
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Ah, so you're White Fox, huh? Heard you're like the new Nick Fury, but with an extra eye. And a bunch more tails.
And you're Major Benjamin Grimm. Skin of stone, heart of gold. One of the best test pilots that ever lived.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, let's see. Hopefully we can win this one.
Flattery won't
Got it?
win us this fight. But a little morale boost in the heat of battle never hurt anyone.
Okay, let's go. Woo!
Mission area is yours.
Cheers for us!
A little help, please.
They look like they mean business.
Double KO.
No worries. I've got your back. Feeling fantastic. Thanks so much. I'm hit. Disappear!
You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Dang.
Fox on the run.
Control lost.
Okay. Come on. Dang.
They hitting real hard.
Hunt resumes.
My aim is true. Fast! Grace us with
Feel
victory!
Magneto!
Was Khonshu's will.
You think you're tough, Logan? I can see straight through you.
Nice finish. Less damage for a bit.
Control seized.
Vortex field. A little help, please.
Also, I do want to say, soon, I'm going, I mean, we'll still do the walks with Luke, topics and stuff like that, but as far as when I'm streaming some games, we're kind of gonna tone it down a little bit on the topics pretty soon.
Okay. Now the clouds
You'll
come
have
out.
to keep fighting until we have a winner.
So, yeah, we'll be doing some game and chat, stuff like that. We'll still do both though, so.
Scissors every time, Logan.
Speed, stamina, and some very sharp claws.
Seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Promise me you'll take it easy out there, Susie.
Benjamin J. Grimm, you should know by now that I'm far from helpless.
Oh, I ain't worried about you. I meant you should take it easy on them.
Well, in that case, we'll just have to wait and see.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1! All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
I'm Mark Spector. I'm Stephen Grant. I'm Jake Lockley. And we are Moon Knight.
Anyone willing to help?
Dang.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now. They captured the mission area!
Let's do this.
Oh, come on, don't run.
Tremble before fast!
I didn't get away from Tom.
Got me good. Tremble before fast!
I'm back, and I'll be more sly this time.
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Tremble before fast!
I'm back, and I'll be more sly this time.
They've almost got it!
I can see straight through you.
Control seized!
They look like they need
Give it never falls! Lucky draw! Give it never falls!
I'm back, and I'll be more sly this time.
Control lost!
Dang it.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Okay, y'all. That's gonna do it for this little live stream, this video. So, yeah, I hope you liked the topic. It's a brutal one, but anyway, I will see you all later. God bless you all, and peace.